Hi, and welcome back to week 3 of our book club through the book Still Standing. My name is Courtney Joseph Fallick from womenlivingwell.org, and this week we are talking about moving forward when we feel stuck. You know, I remember when my divorce was final, taking my wedding ring off and putting it back into that little box that came with it on the day of my engagement. I had worn that ring for 20 years, 1 year of engagement and 19 years of marriage. And so as I put that ring back into the box, it felt like I was putting my whole heart back into that box. And as I walked away, it felt like I was walking away with just a completely broken heart. I tried to move forward, but that empty ring finger was just a reminder that I was alone. And I remember looking in the mirror and asking myself, where do I go from here? I felt lost. I felt so old. I met my husband at the age of 17. We dated for 4.5 years. We were married for 19. And so all of my hopes and my dreams were completely wrapped up in him. But now I was 41 years old and lost. I didn't know myself apart from him, and I had never imagined a future apart from him. So now what? I was going to have to rebuild my life and move forward without him, but I did not want to do that. So I did what felt easier. I stayed stuck. I stayed stuck for years, dreaming of him coming home, praying for him to come home, strategizing how to get him home and back. I wanted reconciliation. I wanted my sweet little family back. I wanted to have a partner, someone to love, someone to care for, someone to talk to, someone to take care of, and someone to take care of me. But he wasn't coming home, and my attachment to this dream was destroying me. It had complete control over me. It made me feel powerless, really, to move forward. Friends, we must detach from people and situations that keep us stuck, that have power and control over us. We must let them go. We must not let our losses and our failures define us and give us our identity. I write about this in chapter 11 of Still Standing, where I talk about a time where I was filling out a medical form and there were 4 boxes about your marital status I needed to check, and it said single, married, divorced, and widowed. And I no longer could check the box married. And I couldn't go back to the box that said single, and I was forced to move forward and check the dreadful box divorced. I did not want to be divorced. I had not been unfaithful. I loved my husband. I was not the one who had filed for the divorce, and I did not want my new identity as a divorced woman, as a single mom, as a divorced woman in the church. I hated my new identity, but there was no escaping it. There was absolutely nothing I could do to fix it, to undo it. It felt completely out of my hands. Or was it? I mean, I couldn't undo the fact that I was divorced. I couldn't make him come home. But did I have to hate my life as much as I did? Did I have to live so broken, so discouraged, so hurt, so sad? Did I have a choice? Yes, I did. Friends, you have a choice. What are you focusing on? What past experiences or relationships do you need to let go of so that you can value the life that you have right now? You are so valuable. What do you need to let go of so that you can open up room to new possibilities? What bad thing do you need to lay down so that you can pick up something good in its place? This takes wisdom, this takes discernment, and this takes faith. It can feel scary and hard, but it is biblical. If you've been around Women Living Well Ministries for very long, then you might already know that one of my favorite books of the Bible is the book Ecclesiastes. It's a very unique book that not many study, but it was my very first in-depth Bible study I ever wrote, and it's very popular. And so I want to talk about Ecclesiastes chapter 3 today because it really applies to this, and it shows us how all of us are going to go through positive things and negative things. And as I read this list, I want you to see how for every positive, there seems to be this like dark shadow of negative there in life too. And so listen to this list of 28 seasons. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and time to speak, a time to love and time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And verse 11 says, God has made everything beautiful in its time. Do you see in this list of seasons that there are times where we will need to plant and build and laugh and dance and search and keep and mend, but there are other times where we will need to tear down, where we will need to uproot, weep, mourn, give up, throw away, and refrain from embracing. This is biblical. We seem to like to focus on the good things in life, right? Like laughing and dancing and building and embracing, but we must accept that life also includes the hard and uncomfortable things of uprooting and weeping and throwing away. And so what is the conclusion in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11? It is that God has made everything beautiful in its time. Everything beautiful. My life does not feel beautiful all of the time, but in time, with perspective, I see the beauty. I remember a friend telling me, Courtney, you might feel like you're living plan B for your life, but this is your plan A. Everything that I was experiencing in my life has a purpose. God has a plan. And so every person that comes into your life and every situation that you face, all of it has a purpose. God uses the good and the bad to shape us, to draw us to him, and to reveal more of himself to us. But we must be patient with God, because the Bible says the way that the beauty comes is with time. I remember the following summer, after I removed my ring, that bare ring finger continued to bother me. And so I went to a Christian concert, and there was this tent where they were selling jewelry, and I remember walking up and finding this silver ring right here that I've been wearing since then, off and on. And inscribed on this ring is the word believe. And I slipped it on my finger because I knew that I needed to trust God as I walked into the land of the unknown of being a single mom at that time. I needed to believe that God had a good plan and a good future for me despite my losses. And so I made the decision to develop myself, to grow, to learn, to read, to pray, to meditate, to study, to get a counselor, to figure out who I was apart from my husband and move forward with my life. Friend, if you are stuck today, it is time. It is time to let go of the past and make room for the future. Let go of the bad so that you can take hold of the good. Read Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and let it fuel you. What do you need to uproot? What do you need to tear down? What do you need to throw away and mourn over? Detach from whatever is holding you back. You are not powerless to move forward. Believe, trust God, be wise. Accept the challenge and the adventure of the unknown. God goes with you. And I know from experience, it is scary and it is hard. But when you do it, when you break free from whatever is holding you stuck, it is so liberating. And so I want this so badly for you. So remember always that God is with you, that he will help you, and that he is for you. Keep walking with the King.